Basketball.
It's time to strap in and get ready. The Insight NBA team is in the arena, bringing you the ultimate play-by-play on who's hot and who's not to help you win your leagues and dominate your mates. You're now hooping with your hosts, Matty G, Skiddy, and Malley for the Insight NBA show.
Hello and welcome to the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast. I am your host tonight on the NBA show, Skiddy IFS, and I'm joined by my mustache brother in arms, Malley. How are you, my man?
Hey, mate, I was at work today and I was thinking, it's a rough time of year. Should I just give up on it all? And then I looked at the fantasy basketball scores and saw that Elfrid Payton was playing and starting in a lineup. And I thought that's as good a message as any to just keep going on, like never give up.
Holy shit. I could not believe it when I saw it today, where it's Elfrid Payton has been signed by the New Orleans Pelicans and he is starting today. And I went, wow.
I saw E. Payton. I was like, surely not. And then I had to click it. I'm like, there he is. Elfrid Payton
was a triple-double machine when he was in Orlando at a certain point as well. I think he was pretty sure he was top 30 or top 40 probably about 5 seasons back.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'd be picking him up now, but I just know that window's very... I mean, he actually got a triple-double today. He was like 11-7 and something, wasn't he? From memory, it was like, just for your first game back in the NBA. Yeah. I mean, they got trounced, but yeah, it's still got it.
Yeah, that's right, mate. Hey, you're absolutely bang on the money. But we welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pimp My Guys show, which is your weekly Thursday stream where we get stuck into the players that are underperforming and we stick a rocket up them and make sure that they perform better. And you guys might be saying to yourselves, well, why should I trust these guys? How are their track? How is their record doing anything for us? Malley, this season, we have had 20 people that we've stuck a rocket up. 19 of them have gone up the draft board for the week later. The only exception so far is D'Angelo Russell, but he can get a dog up him. Last week, me and Horse, we did it with you sitting out for a week, and we still nailed it, mate. Randall, 150 to 31st. Fred VanVleet, 170th to 13th. Jaylen Brown, 174th to 94th. Jared Allen, 195th to 14th. Brendan Ingram, 229th to 81st. And Alex Sarr, 256th to 140th. Our track record speaks for itself, Malley.
Yeah, that's wonderful, mate. I'm glad to see that you can wield the magic all by yourself. You don't even need me here. No.
As you saw, Alex Sarr only got to 140th, so we needed to, there needs to be a little bit more magic. I can only do so much. You also bring in the hoofer as well.
Oh, thanks, mate. We do what's a little like 2-finger connection thing.
Oh yeah,
I know you're a Dragon Ball man. Yeah,
mate. Yep.
That's us.
That's Fusion Lock. You're right there, mate. And before we get into our 6 today, we are going to give a shout-out to our day ones. The Standard Squeeze. Make sure you use promo code IFS15 for 15% off your order. That's right. You get this beautiful 4-in-1, which has scotch for me tonight, which I just absolutely love, Malley. And we'll get stuck into it, though. And quickly, weekly schedule coming up. Wednesday was today with the 8 games. 4 games tomorrow, 8, 7, 6. If you guys would like to know the back-to-back, guys, tomorrow there is none. But then after that, we will be having the Bulls, Nugs, Warriors, Rockets, Bucks, Blazers. And then Saturday, Sunday will be none. So if you guys want to have that information, it's there for you on the screen. But, Malley, are you ready to get stuck back into it after the week off last week?
Yeah, mate. The magic is absolutely brimming out of me. I can feel it. I need to release, mate.
Oh, yes. Well, you can release all over our first man. That is Trey Young, who is currently ranked for the last week 122nd. For the season, he is 55th. His points are slightly down. His rebounds are around the mark, but they're crap anyway, so we don't have to worry about that. Assists are still around the mark, which is good. He's getting the 1 steal. No blocks, but we're not surprised about. The threes are down, though, to 2.5. Free throw percentage is still at 90, but this is where we see the problem. 34% from the field, 5 turnovers a game, Malley. Are we worried about Trey? What are we doing here?
No, because ironically, it's probably none of those things that are really hurting him. It's the fact that he's just not shooting. He can still put up 30 points on 35% shooting, absolutely no problems. But the fact is, I've been watching him the last few days, and yeah, he had that game off, but he's been like the third usage guy on the team, which is insane. Like, it just doesn't make sense that he should be the one taking all the shots, doing all the work while he's out there, and he's just not. And this is something, I mean, the rest, 35% shooting, great if it could get up to like 43 or something, like somewhere acceptable. But he just needs to shoot. Like, he just needs to have the ball in his hands, and he just needs to be he just hasn't looked aggressive. And it was wild. It wasn't today's game. It must have been 2 days ago that I watched him. He just gets into the lane and he just doesn't have that magic. Like, I'm used to him getting in there and just doing those little floaters.
Yeah.
He's just not looking himself at the moment. So it's not like some people might lead you to believe that his day in the sun is over and like Dyson Daniels is the new guy. As much as I'd like to believe that at times, that clearly just isn't the case. So we're here to put rockets up, guys, but I think that makes him a real buy low candidate at the moment. He's someone that I think if you wanted what he can bring, which is 20 points, 10 assists, it's probably worth having a little crack at it now, because at any moment he'll be back to his old self.
You have hit that nail on the head. He's down 4.3% usage points. He's down from 28 from the season to 23.7 in the last week. That can definitely come up there. People are saying it's because of Kobe Buffkin. No, I just think that he's just coming back. He's getting himself orchestrated into the whole team. Remember, this team has not played whole at all this season. They've had at least 3 players out for every game so far this year. Hunter now back, Daniels in, Buffkin back, Bogey back as well. They've got a lot coming back in that they need to do. So I reckon you're bang on the money with Trey Young being a bit of a buy low. But yeah, 122, Trey, come on, mate. You can do better than that. Stop shooting at 34% from the field. We go on to our next guy here, Malley, and I'm not sure about the warning signs here, because the team's got a warning sign, that's for certain, but we need to stick a rocket up Damian Lillard. The points are down. 154th ranked this week. Season, he is 25th. He's scoring 19 points per game this week. That is very much down under his standards of 20, almost 25. 4.5 rebounds is about right, but 10 assists is great. So he's bumped that up 3, and he's still gone down this far. Steals and blocks, he hasn't got either of them this week. The threes are down from 2.8 from the season to 1, which is so un-Lillard-like. The free throw percentage is still good at 90. Field goal is horrible at 37. Bad there. And then 3 turnovers a game. Malley, are we worried about Dame, or are we just saying this is a down week and we'll just bring him back up?
He got his bonk in the head, and we've got to remember he's not a young man anymore. He's an old VB Commodore, and he just takes a little bit to warm up. You just don't come back from your head bonk and go, all right, I've missed 2 weeks. What do you want me to do? Like, it just takes a while to get going. In those 2 games where he hasn't played terribly well, today wasn't too bad, but his last couple haven't been flash. He's also had Brook Lopez being like the number 2 guy, and I can't buy that. As a Lopez owner, I'm stoked, but I know that's not going to last for too long. So, a few strange things going on in the world of Dame Lillard, and I think you're right. By this time next week, we'll be looking back and at scoffing at the stats he was putting up. I'm right behind him.
Beautiful, mate. I agree with you. And also good news for the Bucks fans. Chris Middleton is now cleared to resume practice and workouts, so he should be coming back in the next couple of weeks, which is great for Chris Middleton. And if you have him on the IR, that's just bang on the money. I have picked him up in a league today just to have him there, just in case. Hopefully he comes back sooner rather than later. Malley, our next guy. Everyone says, "Oh, you guys are just choosing the best players. Obviously, they're going to come back up." Righto, then let's give it a crack. Then we'll boost another guy up. Yousef Nurkic, taking around the hundreds, ranked 204 this week, which is actually up from his season of 230 because he has been shithouse. And I want to know where your head is trying to get, where we can look at Yousef Nurkic coming up to, at least around where we drafted him. Points at 7.7, rebounds at 9, which is good, but down for the week as well. Same as his points. Assists at 1.3, which is, he was averaging 4 last year in Phoenix, and now it's down to 1.3. Steals are at 1, which is about right. Blocks are down, but down from 1.1 last year to 0.7. Threes are up at 0.3, which is coinciding. But seriously, he shouldn't be shooting 35% from the field as a big man. Like, he can't be that bad. Free throw percentage at 50 is just something that you sometimes have to expect from Yousef, and it's just something you're going to cop. Turnovers at 1.3. Malley, what are we doing here with Big Nurk?
I can account for a few things. Firstly, we don't need to panic. They're not going to replace him with Plumlee. Like, Plumlee is not him. We know what Plumlee is. He's not that's my first point there. I can't see that happening. The second thing is the assists are down, and the assists are probably down because he's been playing without Bradley Beal and he's been playing without Kevin Durant. So when he looks around, he actually finds an outlet. He's not finding anyone who can actually put the ball in anyway. So that'll help him in that area. The rebounds, I'm not too sure if I can defend that.
Just down
potentially having to do a little bit more work offensively, or at least be in a position where he has. Not that that's worked very well at 35%. For a guy who's 7 foot, you should just be like placing the ball into the hoop. And if you're not, you should also be getting a squill in rebounds, which he's not. But we've seen what a good fit he is with this team. And he was impressive last year, basically going from a guy that you probably could get from the waiver wire to a guy who earned his place in your rotation and stayed there. I definitely have less confidence in him than our previous two candidates, but I expect better things. I think he will be okay. But I also think at the position you picked him up, you can't be too upset if the drop off happens and you just got to let him go. Let's have a look at where he is next week when we do our look back and see if the magic worked. And if you and I can't get him there, then there's bloody no hope. We drop him next week.
Yeah, and then we can all get on board and just hope Mason Plumlee overtakes him as the starting center so we can get some assists from the center position because, hey, Plumlee can do that, which is fine. Nurkic, that's 35%, mate. I want to see at least 53. Come on, give us something to work with here. You can't be giving us that shit. Oh, well. Speaking of that shit, Malley, let's go to Washington. Kyle Kuzma has been an absolute atrocious start to the year. Yes, some of it's to do with injury. I'm not giving it full, but this week I can at least get stuck into him because he was healthy all week and he played 3 games. So fine by me. Kuzma ranked 213 this week, season ranked 280. So he is getting a little bit better. As I said, the start was not great for him. 19 points per game is fine. 7.7 rebounds is up, and it's actually up quite nicely as well from last season, which is good. Assists are down, which is disappointing. 1.3. He was at 4.2 last year. So they're down heavily, maybe with a bit more of the Jordan Poole rise. He did not get a steal this week, which sucks. He got 1 block, which also sucks. His threes are down from 2.2 to 1.3, which is hurting. Free throw percentage. What are we doing here? I know it's only 1 attempt a game, but 33%. Come on, Kuz, you're better than that. You cannot be shooting that badly at free throws. That's me after I've had too many frothies at the pub and then go play midweek basketball. But his field goal percentage is up to 49%, which is really, really nice to see. Turnovers down to 3. Malley, how is a player of Kuzma's ability averaging 3 turnovers and only 1.3 assists? That is almost a negative 40% assist to turnover ratio.
Maybe he's trying to do a little bit too much on a team that's very young this year. Obviously, he's taken a back seat to where we probably thought he was going to do last year, with the pool that we thought we were going to get last year as the pool we are suddenly getting this year. Speaking of which, I see that his defensive stats have just whittled away to nothing, which was it was always going to happen. But I don't know. I've never held Kuzma that high, but you're right. There's some things there that just aren't going to sustain in all the best ways. Like his free throw percentages are not going to be that bad. Like that's basically Claxton level free throw shooting.
Yes.
I think he's going to get more threes. I think, unlike Jordan Poole, who's really kind of his new responsibility and working really well with these young guys and a young team, Kuzma just isn't. And you can, the writing's on the wall a little bit for him, and obviously not Yousef Nurkic, we just talked about him, and Jonas Valanciunas, that maybe they're the guys that probably won't have a place in this team in a few months' time. So, but I think the thing with Kuzma is whatever Kuzma we're seeing in Washington is the best Kuzma we're going to see. It's like, we saw what happened with Porzingis when he was in Washington. He played like a god because he could. Yeah. And then, he's still a great player when he went to Cleveland in a great system, but he just can't put those as a fantasy guy. He fell off as an actual player. He's probably more of an asset there. So, yes, we see what happens with Kuzma. I feel as we're going through this list, I have less and less faith. But we only need to move him up one. We only need to move him up one place for a win, so surely we can do that.
Hey, we're taking some gambles here with Nurkic and Kuzma, but we got to test ourselves a little bit. Only D'Angelo Russell stuffed us so far, so that's all right.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think you're right. It's a challenge is it will be interesting. But I've always been a you cruise, you lose kind of man. I don't think I've ever had him in a league, but So
I think you're right though. Like, where does he go that makes him a better fantasy player? This is the best place he can get. No team is going to sit there and go, hey, we want to trade for a 29-year-old Kyle Kuzma at $20 million who doesn't play defense and just shot chucks a shitload. That's not what a championship team wants on their team. I just don't know which team that would suit either. Like,
he should. No. He shouldn't be having this grass is always greener mentality, because I don't think that's going to be real good for him.
Maybe he could actually find a pretty good spot on the Clippers. They need an extra bit of scoring punch, actually. So there you go. Clippers,
that's true. And I just want to check in, because I don't really understand how the Magic works, because it's very mysterious and majestical. But because I don't have Kuzma in any of my leagues, and I don't really care about him as an NBA player or a fantasy player, does the Magic still work, or do we just have to wait and see?
We'll probably have to wait and see, but I have him in a league where I picked him up off the waiver wire for nothing. So at least he's there, and I'm still wondering if I've made the right decision or if I should just drop his ass. But we've talked enough about Kuzma. There's probably going to be a guy that we're going to be talking about a lot lately, and this might be a bit controversial, but who gives a shit? This is what we're here for. The King, LeBron James, makes his first ever appearance on Pimp My Guys. And hey, I'll tell you, his teammate, Dalton Connect, who is currently the 8th ranked player this week in NBA fantasy. So I'm sure a lot of these Lakers supporters are going to be happy about that one. But LeBron is currently 224th ranked this week. For the season, he's 39th, which is fantastic for the King. But this week, he's averaging 20.7 points per game. So that is absolutely fine. It's down a little bit on his season average, but that's okay. Rebounds are at 8.3, assists at 9.7. And you're saying, Skiddy, that's fantastic. I love that. His steals are at 0.7, which is around the mark. Blocks, he hasn't gotten one this week, which is down. Threes are down from 2.3 to 1.3. Free throw percentage on 6.7 attempts per game is at 60%, which is shit house. Field goal percentage, 47%, down from 51. And turnovers are at 5.7, a plus 2.5 points, Malley. What do you like it? What can we see from the King? Are you expecting him to come back?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I never put any doubt behind this guy, because every time I've had egg on my face. Like, I just can't do it anymore. He's unreal. Like, he's my GOAT. I don't know if he is for you, but and I don't particularly like the guy, but I just like the statistics. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't look directly behind you. So I I think the blocks, that he's going to make a block. I think it doesn't take any sort of fantasy analyst to be able to tell you that that's going to move and shake itself off 0.0.
Yeah.
The free throw percentage, you're right. I think that would be absolutely dragging his ass down as far as rankings go because of, as you said, he's a guy who gets to the line plenty of times. And when you're only hitting just north of half of them, it's pretty nasty. So I think a lot of people love narratives. People love making up their own little stories that go with what they see. Obviously, Dalton Connect being in there will be one of them. People might say this is happening because he doesn't have D'Angelo out there doing his share at the moment. So I just love to be on these chat room things and having a look and seeing what people are saying and on social media because there's some pretty wild. I honestly think ChatGPT could do a better job at making up some of the narratives that people are putting around players like LeBron. But it's a non-panic moment. And I mean, isn't it funny that the ranking obviously is something that we pay attention to. It's not the be all and end all. But we're still talking about a guy who's like nearly averaging a triple-double. Like, I don't know. I don't panic about someone who's going 29 and 8 or whatever it was. That's crazy.
Yep. That's right. Well, he's getting all the counting stats, so that's all right. Just needs to tidy up the percentages, and we're all good to go. That's fantastic. I also saw. I love watching when you bring up the chat rooms and everything like that. The amount of trades that I have seen D'Angelo Russell and Rui Hachimura involved in is got me stuffed, and I do not understand how these people believe that these trades would be accepted by the other team. I saw Brandon Ingram for Rui Hachimura and D'Angelo Russell, and I just went, "You're fucking kidding me, aren't you? There's no way that would accept that."
Yeah, that's that's pretty disgusting. I also like the fact that you and I just both refer to it as a chat room because we're like 800. No one's used that. And maybe our listeners are our age, so they'll be like, "Oh, cool, chat room. Yeah, we get that."
Oh, yeah. I'm back on that. Yep, that sounds fantastic. Or it's a website that we don't want to be a part of. Let's get into something that we do want to be a part of, Malley, and that's our last guy that we need to pump up. And oh my God, does this guy need a bit of inflation because he is flaccid. That's right. It's the big cock himself, Grady Dick. Ranked 288th this week. For the season, he's been 106, so he's been really bloody good. And his points are down this week from 18.7 to 13.3. Rebounds are at 3.7, which is up, so that's good. Assists, 2.7, which is up, still not great. Has not gotten a defensive stat this week. Threes are down from 2.4 to 1.7. Free throw percentage is 100%. That's right. He had 4.3 free throws a game, shot about 100%, and still he's ranked the 288th player. That's how piss poor he's done. And let's just say it's because he shot a dismal 28.9% from the field, 12.7 attempts per game, and he shot 28%, 2.7 turnovers as well, which is up from 1.7. Obviously, they're asking him to do a bit too much at the moment. Emmanuel quickly returning may have done a little bit extra to be able to hurt this as well, I would say. But yeah, the shots just aren't right there for Grady at the moment.
Yeah, and I mean, he's playing behind the greatest offensive player of all time, Joachim Poeltl. It's a pretty rough situation to be in for him. And I feel a bit sorry for the guy because you're right. He's a second-year player. He's playing way over his head. I'm sure he's won a few people over the last few weeks. Their fantasy matchup. Things are only going to get worse with Scotty Barnes on the precipice of coming back, within the next game or two. So as far as the guys we've looked at tonight, I think you're right. I think even though he will come better, the opportunity is going to dribble away. I don't know. The only magic we could cast here is dark magic, which would be the magic we need to hurt those people around him for him to get more opportunities. So I don't know if you want to double on that.
No, we're not doing that. That's for certain. But do you reckon he keeps his starting lineup when they're full health? So it would be what? Quickly, Grady, RJ, Barnes, and Poeltl?
Yeah, I think so. I think it might be interesting now because of how well Abaji's been playing, because he's been electric, and they've been able to see what he can do now. And I don't know if they are starting to feel, because of what they're seeing, the same as what you're just showing me, that Grady's in a bit of a struggle zone. I think he would do best as a six man. He'd he's that kind of Powell archetype where they do their best work in that six man position, where they can just come in when everyone else is tuckered out and just do all the shooting, and then sit down and let the stars kind of play on. So I think as an owner of him in fantasy basketball, you're probably hoping that he doesn't stay in that starting lineup, because the opportunity is just not really there.
Yep, couldn't agree more, mate. Definitely doing his best work as a fluffer, not the main guy as of yet. So that's a good insight from you there, mate. Remember also too, Bruce Brown is to come back onto this team as well. So he'll be back in about a month or so. So that's another name to throw into the mix. But Malley, we'll quickly rattle off these guys. What would you do? Would you be holding? Would you be selling? Or would you be dropping Trey Young?
Absolutely holding. High level of confidence. We aren't looking at the true Trey Young at the moment. Yeah.
True Damian Lillard.
Yes, a little bit worried about the age, but I'm not at all worried about Milton coming back and impacting him. So I think he'll be okay. He's just old, and it takes a little bit of time to get the joints loose.
Love that. Yousef Nurkic.
I think I'm bigger on his return than you are. I think you've already written him off, and you just want to see big plum in there.
Plums. Oh, I would love to say a bit of plums, but I'm still holding for now, but I'm just waiting to see what happens, because I think there is a way where Plumlee may be able to come in. So we'll just have to wait and see on Yousef. I'd be holding for now, but if I could sell him off for another center, then I probably would. Kyle Kuzma.
I think he will be better only because Kyle Kuzma thinks Kyle Kuzma will be the best. So, I think he'll be okay. There's things on there that I'm worried about. The steals and blocks aren't going to wriggle too much, but the threes are going to come good, and there's no chance he's going to stay at a 33.3 repeater style free throw shooter.
Yeah, let's get that assist to turnover ratio flicked around as well, Kuz. That'd be great. Appreciate that. The King, LeBron James.
I won't bet against the man, so up LeBron James.
I'm big on there with you as well. And then how about the big cock, Grady Dick?
Absolutely no chance. If we can bring him back, then our powerful's too magic. Our magic is too powerful for even us to wield. I think if he comes back up to where he had been in the last few weeks, when we look at him next week, we better just start thinking very carefully about how we use our magic.
Yeah, I reckon Grady's about on the way out with Scotty Barnes coming back in. So I reckon that if you can sell him for anybody before Barnes comes back, I probably would. And then I reckon most people are going to think what we are thinking. And after one game of Barnes being back, it's probably time for Grady to almost hit the outs, unless he can really pull something out with some okay usage, some good amount of threes, but he'd have to do a lot more to be able to keep on my team. Malley, thank you very much for another Pimp My Guys episode. Hopefully our guys, we can bring a rocket up a couple of your guys. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you want us to pimp your guys, feel free to DM us. You can jump into our Discord, DM us on X. I am at Skiddy IFS. Malley is at live_my_fantasy, and we'll pimp your guys for the next week. Make sure that they're better. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. Hope you have a great evening. Bye.